there guys and gals, welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews, and today we're going to go over my top recommended games for those of you who may be picking up your first Nintendo Switch for Christmas, or maybe you already have a Switch and you're just like, hey, Mr. Pocket Man, what 10 games would you recommend I buy? And I'm not saying that there aren't other games I wouldn't recommend. These are just my top 10 games that are very Nintendo themed. So I tried to avoid games that are going to be games you could really pick up pretty much on any platform like Civilization or Skyrim, because while I do love those experiences on my Switch, a lot of you have already probably had those experiences on, well, your PlayStation, your PC, or your Xbox. Not uncommon. So obviously we all know that every so often Nick just loves to talk and gloat and enjoy his Switch and everything that it is. And a lot of it has to do with, I love doing Christmas content. I love talking about Christmas. I just put up my lights, my outdoor Christmas lights. They're not on. I needed to get them up before the snow. I love Christmas. Christmas content is part of what I live for on this channel. Christmas was a huge thing for me as a kid. Well, Nintendo has always been a really big part of that. Now, one of the games I don't have a game box for, and it is going to be the first game, and we'll explain why. So, no Nintendo game or system is really complete without, well, a Pokemon game. And Pokemon Sword and Shield are on my list. Despite me not having played them yet, they are going to be the first traditional Pokemon games in the Switch lineups. This is going to be the first actual entry into the Pokemon series outside of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which are great games respectively, but they are not traditional Pokemon games. And Sword and Shield are really going to be your first ventures into that, and well, I might not have liked Sun and Moon. I will not tell you they were bad games by any means. They are still great entries into the Pokemon games, and unfortunately for me, I'm just very stuck in my old ways. There was too much that changed. It felt too different to me. You know, it's my first time feeling like the grumpy old man yelling at the kids to get out in the Pokemon game. So, Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to be at the number 10 spot, and the only reason why they're at the back of the pack is because, well, I haven't played them, so I really can't tell you how great they are, and nothing's going to really beat out what I'm going to put at number 1. But we've got a stack of games here that we're going to go through, and number 9 is going to be Mario Party. So Super Mario Party on the Nintendo Switch is a great game. It's a lot of fun, and I've grown up playing the Mario Party games. I would say this has probably been the most fun that I've had since the N64 Mario Party games. Did a lot of things to kind of make up for some of the trash that eventually went down. Mario Party fell off greatly in the back half of its life, and this does a great job revisiting some of its prime. It's not the greatest collection of mini-games that Mario Party's ever seen, but they are well implemented and they do have a decent pace to them. And, well, obviously it's Mario Party, it's a board game. There's always a sense of luck over skill. That's just how board games work, and that kind of has it, but not as bad as some of the previous games. Next up on my list is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. If you're wondering what it's kind of like Diablo, but with Marvel characters. And you get to switch your characters, so there's different abilities. It's not like you have to play as Demon Hunter. You can play as Spider-Man, Iron Man. You can just swap them in and out however you feel free. It's a really great game. It's really good if you have more than one person wanting to play. It's probably one of the best sofa co-op games that they currently offer on the Switch, outside of like the traditional Nintendo games. So your Mario Karts and your stuff like that. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. Next up on the list, Super Mario Maker 2. And some of you might be thinking, but I hate the building concept. Isn't it just Super Mario Maker 1? Kind of. There's a lot of new things that are added and a lot of implementations that were actually kind of ease of use while making courses. There are also a lot of features that were added for those of you who just like to play the courses that were created. So if you're someone who doesn't really like to build, maybe you just don't really enjoy building the courses, you can still enjoy it by playing the courses that other people have made. I enjoy a decent mixture of both. I have published a good chunk of my courses on there, and a lot of you have already played some of them. I've had a lot of you comment to me about them. But I enjoyed that particular interaction. It is a lot of fun trying to figure out, hey, do I think my friends could beat this? And the hard part is, if you want to make that course, you have to be able to beat it yourself. So it's not like I can make a course that I couldn't beat. If I did it, it means you should be able to do it. Let's face it, I'm not that great at games. Next up on my list is Super Smash Bros. I really don't feel that you could honestly own a Nintendo Switch and not have Super Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Is easily one of the biggest franchises in Nintendo's catalog. Obviously, it's featuring pretty much all of their characters, so it's a giant battle royale game, so to speak, but it is a fighter game. You are all beating the holy hell out of each other until one of you is left standing, or a team is left standing. This is probably the most inclusive of all of their fighting games. It is a little large of a roster sometimes, and some of the characters, I would say I like different variations of them from different games better. But I would overall tell you this is probably the greatest iteration of Super Smash Bros. And no, it is not just a reskin of the one on the Wii U. It is very similar, but there are more fighters. There are a lot of things that were added to it. So I do still recommend picking this up, even if you did have the Wii U Super Smash Bros. Or the 3DS Super Smash Bros. Next up on our list, Splatoon 2. Probably still the greatest co-op game on the Nintendo Switch, outside of, you got some other great contenders like Rocket League and stuff like that. Screw Overwatch. So Splatoon 2 is still my favorite multiplayer game that is competitive, so to speak, on the Nintendo Switch. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more lighthearted than your traditional shooter, and it's cartoony. So, my kids love this. My son is absolutely obsessed with this game. To this day, this is still the game he plays the most on his Switch. If I pulled up his parental controls right now, it gives you a monthly summary, this game is at the top of that every single month. He likes when I participate in Splatfests with him. Granted, there are no more Splatfests. Those are all done, I do believe. But it is a very fun and enjoyable game. It is not overwhelmingly stressful. If you don't really like killing people, you can just cover the turf with ink. There are multiple different ways to enjoy the game and multiple different strategies to do well at the online rather than just being all-out aggressive. Splatoon 2. Next up, Super Mario Odyssey! Not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite Mario game since Mario 64, and that's saying a lot. Mario Galaxy was probably right behind this, but Mario 64 is still my absolute favorite Mario game, and granted, a lot of that has to do with nostalgia to me, and obviously I still love the classics too, because I grew up playing Mario 3 and Mario 1. No one really likes Super Mario 2 because it's not even technically really a Mario game. It's the redheaded stepchild that nobody loves in the Mario franchise. But Super Mario Odyssey is the best 3D Mario game since, well, as I said, Super Mario 64. As I'd tell you, I'd say Mario Galaxy was a pretty close runner-up. I would still love to see the Mario Galaxies get a remaster on the Switch, or maybe even Super Mario Sunshine, because I really didn't get to play too much of Sunshine. I just remember not enjoying it all that much for some reason. Couldn't tell you what it is. I don't know if it was the weird backpack or what. It wasn't my favorite Mario game. But Mario Odyssey is a lot of fun, even with the weird cap with the eyes. It ties in well. It's done in a very Nintendo way. Only Nintendo can make similar magic to Disney, okay? I'm just going to say it in that way. There is a certain magic that Disney has. Nintendo is the only company that can do the same kind of thing. Next up on that list is Mario Kart 8. I get it. You might have already bought this for the Wii U, but let's face it. This is all of the maps. This is it for the Nintendo Switch. If you own a Nintendo system, you gotta own Mario Kart. It's sort of like a thing you have to do. I'm a big Mario Kart fan, and no, Mario Kart on your phone doesn't count. While it is fun to be able to play Mario Kart on your phone, this is an actual Mario Kart game, okay? That Mario Kart on your phone is not. You're not actually facing real people. You are facing ghost times. This, you're actually facing off against real people, and or you can play the bots, the computer, as my son liked to call the other Clue pieces on the board that weren't being operated by someone. Today we played Clue today. But I'm a big Mario Kart fan. I take Mario Kart super competitively. A lot of you already know that. I've done BPGR Mario Kart tournaments as a giant community playdate thing. And we might do a couple more of those sometime soon. Maybe here around the holidays. I might even get my son to join in. My son sometimes will beat me in a race. He has never beaten me in a cup yet, but he has beaten me in individual races. Usually it is due to unfortunate circumstances, like me getting hit by like 2 blue shells on the final lap or something ridiculous like that. But I love Mario Kart. My family loves Mario Kart. It's a fun game, and it's a game I feel everyone who owns the Switch should own. Next up, probably the greatest RPG on the Switch, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I know some of you were like, oh, is he going to say Xenoblade? No, it's Breath of the Wild, and you can argue me on that. We can go outside and fight over this. I'm cool with that. Breath of the Wild is the greatest RPG on the Nintendo Switch. This game is phenomenal. No, I haven't beaten it. I've beaten 3 of the Divine Beasts. I get sidetracked with other stuff in this game, specifically like the cooking and stuff. I know that's really weird. I get sidetracked with that kind of stuff in Skyrim too, okay? I've done 6 playthroughs of Skyrim, and I've done just about everything you can imagine in Skyrim. It's a problem. This game out Skyrim, I literally can get so sidetracked in this game and just doing random things throughout the world. And some of the stuff in this game is really hard. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, there are things that infuriate me about this game. I hate when weapons break. Like, that is a feature I hate in most games. I don't like it in this one, but I love the game so much, I fight past it, even though I get so annoyed, like, oh, yeah, great, there goes that sword I really liked, and I don't have another one in my inventory. Guess I'm fighting you with a stick. Go pick up Breath of the Wild if you haven't already. I'm telling you, great game. Obviously, it was good enough to be my number 2 on Nintendo Switch. So, Nick, what's your number 1 game? Stop those of you that are peeking, possibly pausing and zooming in. It is Luigi's Mansion 3. I know I didn't get to review this or anything yet, but I am a huge fan of the Luigi's Mansion franchise. This is arguably my favorite franchise on the Nintendo Switch. Actually, it's not even arguably. It's easily my favorite franchise on the Nintendo Switch. It stars the person you don't expect to be the main character, which is Luigi, and I get it. Some of you now expect him to be a main character because we're into the 3rd game in this franchise. But when this game came out, the GameCube didn't do well at release. And a lot of people blamed it for not having a Mario game at release. And it was because Luigi's Mansion actually launched with the system. And it became a huge cult classic. I loved Luigi's Mansion. I would tell you it was probably my favorite GameCube game. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for the 3DS was actually a big part of why I even bought a 3DS. Luigi's Mansion 3, obviously, me and my son both picked it up day of release. We're doing the same thing with Pokemon. I don't usually get him games day of release. Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon are 2 I will make exceptions for, because we both love this franchise. I have already beaten this game. I will tell you it is an incredible game. 10 of 10. Okay, I'm not one to give you perfect scores. Like, I don't ever really even score games. 10 of 10. Easy. Like, there are almost no games I would tell you are a 10 of 10. 10 of 10. It was really nice to have that full feeling of a Luigi's Mansion game again. There are a lot of differences between Dark Moon and like the original. And those of you who have played the 2, you already kind of understand. The original was a lot more open world, whereas Dark Moon was more, here's like these piecemeal, and I get it. You're talking about a mobile title. I get it. You might even think mobile title, kinda. But awesome game. Easily my favorite game right now on the Nintendo Switch. The story's fantastic. It's very endearing the way that Nintendo is able to do certain things. Think of it as like the Ghostbusters, but you're literally walking around with a vacuum cleaner strapped to your back as Luigi, who's missing his brother and literally walking around the hotel going, Mario! Just like that, too. Just like that, alright? Luigi might have pooped his pants somewhere in that mansion. And this one's a hotel. No, it's a hotel. Cool, right? Awesome. Those are my absolute favorite games right now on the Nintendo Switch. As I said, I'm not saying there aren't others. I've got LA Noire, Diablo 3, Minecraft, Rocket League, the Shantae games. There are plenty of other great games. These are just, if you were to ask me outright, and I were not assuming, hey, look, I would say this appeals to the most widest of audience. I don't feel any of these games exclude anyone. And I feel there's very few people who are going to be like, no, I hate that one specific kind of game. It's very rare. But there are people out there that I know hate Mario Kart. You're sick. You are seriously sick. Seek help, okay? If you're new to the channel and you've never seen my beautiful face before, you should click that subscribe button and ding the little bell. That little bell will ensure that you actually know when I upload new content. If you click the subscribe button, I'm just going to rot somewhere in your feed and maybe eventually pop up again when I've made my peace with the YouTube algorithm. I have debated on sacrificing my dog to the YouTube algorithm. She's nowhere to be seen, so she didn't start whining the second I said that. That's a joke, by the way. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a thumbs up. Those thumbs up help it get seen by more people, alongside you sharing it. So if you feel like you enjoyed this, you should share the content. I appreciate that. Also, if you want to follow me anywhere else, links are, as always, in the description box down below, like my PSN, my Xbox Live ID, my Patreon, my Teespring, and anyone who is in the $10 Patreon tier or above by December, so it has to be before December 1st, I do send out handwritten Christmas cards to the Patreon members. So, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to have plenty more content coming for you soon, and most of it's going to be Christmas themed, so batten your hatches.